What's good, YouTube? It's your boy J2 Crazy back again with another video. You feel me? As you can see today, we got a little truth telling video. You feel me? So y'all see the author of this video. I don't want to butcher this lovely lady's name, so you want to watch this video in its entirety. You feel me? There you go, right there. But without further ado, let's get into this video.
You may be eating pre-digested food, and it turns out we're all eating more of it than we think
Hey,
we
hold
are.
on. Okay. Before this video really gets started, let me just say, you feel me? There's a difference between processed and ultra processed foods. You feel me? As y'all finna see. But also, you know what I'm saying? Let's not act judgmental in the comment section. Even me, I'm not gonna act judgmental. You know what I'm saying? We all eat. You feel me? We all eat it. You know what I'm saying? So let's not go trying to pick and choose who eat what, and let's not trying to go be doctors and stuff in the comment section. You feel me? Everybody relax. Just enjoy the video. Alright? Alright.
Processed foods. They're often cheap and convenient, and Americans, of course, eat a lot of them.
Because here's the thing, ultra-processed food isn't just junk food, it's showing up places you wouldn't expect. It has taken over the grocery store. And I think we all already know that it's unhealthy, addictive, and more.
Eating too many ultra-processed foods could shorten your lifespan.
Raises the risk of diabetes,
heart disease, fatty
I'm
liver
not gonna cap,
disease.
bro.
And depression.
Hey, ain't gonna cap. A lot of the reason that I don't eat out as much as I used to, not because like videos like this and stuff, it's actually because I used to work at these places. You know what I'm saying? And one, I overate it. You know what I'm saying? Like McDonald's, I used to work at McDonald's. I overate McDonald's. You feel me? I used to work at Waffle House. I overate at Waffle House too. You feel me? How am I still skinny? The world may never know. You understand me? But anyway, secondly, just being around the food. You feel me? Like over time, you get tired of working around it. You get tired of being around it. So when it comes, you know what I'm saying? And McDonald's just stopped being good to me. You know what I'm saying? It may be good to you all. You feel me? It may be good to you all. I'm not saying that. Me personally, you feel me? This is my experience. You don't have to agree. It's okay. McDonald's is not good to me no more. You feel me?
They can cause harm similar to smoking.
eating them too often could be taking years off your life.
But this article breaks down one of the hidden reasons that ultra-processed food is leading to all these issues. And it's not just calories or sugar or a lack of fiber. Quote, according to emerging science, it may be due to manufacturing processes that pre-digest raw food ingredients. We are eating pre-digested food. The idea of eating pre-digested food is just so viscerally awful.
Basically, the opposite of farm to table.
But you know what? I love reading about how evil the food industry is because it just gives me so much drive and motivation to say, ultra-processed food. Knowing they're making bank, tricking us all into eating something that's terrible for us, just gives you that little extra fuel to be like,
Ain't no,
no,
bro.
I'm not gonna touch.
I'm not gonna cap, bro. Hey, that is a like low key. That could like subconsciously be another reason why I just stopped eating like out so much. Cause like, bro, these people they finding like the cheapest material to make food with, just so they can make extra money that they already have. Like,
touch any of my old favorite UPFs. Not you corn pops, not you pizza pockets, not you boxed chicken nuggets. And I'm sure many of you are the same. Like, I just cannot stand being tricked into doing something I know is bad for me. Like, it's just like, no. And hopefully today's video will give you that same vibe. By the way, my behavior change course, How to Change, is launching in March. If you want to learn the skill of change, comes out. So first, what is ultra-processed food anyway? Well, it may seem obvious when I say it. It comes down to the processing. What does pre-digested mean? To manufacture cheap, delicious food that is packaged for convenience, basic food crops such as corn, wheat, and potatoes are disassembled into their molecular parts. Think
that's
about that.
crazy.
Breaking foods
And
down
then,
to their
bro, and then they like, I don't know.
molecules. That's where the ultra comes from in ultra processed. And it's this extreme level of food processing, so extreme that these foods are pre-digested, that creates this entire category of food. It's not that it's junk food. It's not that it's pre-packaged. It's not that it's really high in sugar or calories. The defining feature of ultra processed food is that you could not make it at home if you wanted to.
And
It's
that's
only
the thing,
possible.
bro. That's the thing about it, bro. That's why, like, when you go out to stores, bro, and you see something, and like when you and you see something that they make in a restaurant versus like when you make it at home, that's why it looks so much differently, bro. Because like the food that they make, it's already went through all this processed nonsense. You feel me? Now, don't get me wrong. The food that we make at home is still processed. You feel me? Now, is it ultra processed? The ingredients, you'll have to read the ingredients on the back, and the way you'll be able to tell is because I think it have like all these different types of long chemical names or something like that. But like, just you'll be able to tell if it's ultra processed, bro. Because I mean, they can't just not tell you. You feel me? They gotta put it somewhere.
For these foods to exist because of modern food science. To explain the point in a more tangible way, let's think about the difference between an apple and an apple pie, but from McDonald's. Researchers split food into 4 groups depending on their level of processing. 1. Unprocessed or minimally processed foods. 2. Processed culinary ingredients. 3. Processed foods. And 4. Ultra-processed foods. So 1. Unprocessed or minimally processed foods. This group is pretty self-explanatory. Apples belong to group 1. These are your whole foods with nothing added. This level includes all fresh, dry, and frozen fruits and vegetables, grains, meat, eggs, milk, fish.
Hey, I just seen this in the camera, but I got bags under my eyes.
What?
Nuts, and seeds. Group 2 refers to processed culinary ingredients such as salt, sugar, butter, honey, olive oil, or spices. Now, group 3 refers to processed foods. The term processing just means that a food has undergone a change from its natural state. This level includes canned food, cured meats, wine, cheese, fresh bread. To use our apple example, applesauce, canned apples, or prepackaged apples preserved with lemon juice. So in group 3, we usually have a food product that's made up of almost all just real food. It can be baked or boiled or preserved or canned or fermented or mixed with other foods. So it's important to note that processing itself is not bad. It's when you take things too far. In group 4, ultra processed food is the definition of too far. So here is the definition given for group 4. Ultra processed foods are formulations of ingredients, mostly of exclusive industrial use, typically created by a series of industrial techniques and processes. So instead of food, it's industrial ingredients that have been created through a series of industrial techniques. See what I'm saying? This is the problem. There's just not a lot of normal ass food in ultra processed food. And group 4 is where we find our McDonald's apple pie. See, a homemade apple pie is only a level 3 food because yeah, it's got sugar and fat and whatever else, but it's really just a combination of regular old processed ingredients you can find in any normal home or grocery store. A McDonald's apple pie, on the other hand, is a group 4 ultra processed food because it's made up of a ton of industrial ingredients created by a series of industrial techniques. And if we take a closer look at the ingredients of the apple pie, many of them are quite industrial sounding, which clues us into the fact that they must have been created through processes similar to pre-digesting, as mentioned in our article. Basic food crops such as corn, wheat, and potatoes are dissembled into their molecular parts, starchy flours, protein isolates, fats, and oils.
People still steady argue them. Oh, so it's good. It tastes good. So what? You only live once. Alright, bruh, but bottom line, bruh, you're funding these people to keep feeding it to the people who don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people who know and that don't buy it, you feel me? They outweighed by the, oh, it tastes good. It's okay. You only live for once. It's not that bad. You feel me? You smell me? So, hey.
Or what manufacturers call slurries. The bulk of what is extracted is starch slurry, a milky mixture of starch and water. But we've also extracted proteins and fibers, according to a video explanation of the process from Starch Europe. Roughly half of the starch slurry goes to produce starch-based sugars and other derivatives. Those are created by hydrolysis, a process similar to human digestion. Next, with the help of artificial colorings, flavorings, and glue-like emulsifiers, those slurries are then heated, pounded, shaped, or extruded into any food a manufacturer can dream up. So food manufacturers rip real foods apart down to the molecule, turn them into slurries of starches and sugars and whatever else, then combine these slurries and powders with oils and emulsifiers, and from there they could remodel them to seem exactly like the normal foods we know and love. Take potato chips, for example. When they were invented, they were just really thin slices of potatoes that were fried.
I don't know if it's just me, bro. This ain't got nothing to do with the video. I don't know if it's just me, but every time I see somebody using one of them type of knives, bro, hey, it get me. You feel me? Hey, please do not cut your hand using those type of knives.
And then serve. If you have an air fryer, you could easily make potato chips at home with just 3 ingredients: a potato, oil, and salt. But let's compare that to a Pringle. A plain Pringle
Might just do
contains
that for
dried
real.
potatoes, vegetable oil, corn flour, cornstarch, rice flour,
Hey.
sugars, maltodextrin.
And so y'all know I ain't cap, you feel me? Hey, I am making this video, but hey, behind me, hey, hold on. Smooth bag of Lay's tater chips, you feel me? So hey, stay out my comments with that don't judge me stuff, you feel me? Because I do partake and indulge myself.
Mono and diglycerides, salt, citric acid, and wheat starch. I actually thought that was going to be way worse than that, but this is a plain Pringle, so none of the seasoning is on it. But let's investigate further. So to start, dried potatoes are likely not just whole ground potatoes, but an incredibly fine potato flake that's extracted in a similar process to what the article has been discussing. Then we have vegetable oil, which, have you ever wondered exactly what vegetables go into vegetable oil? The packaging on this one shows tomatoes, celery, carrots, and spinach, but I was curious what exactly qualified as vegetable oil, so I looked up the USDA definition of it. So here are the requirements. It says that vegetable oil refers to any refined, bleached, filtered, and deodorized oil, and can consist of any one or a combination of the following: canola, corn, cottonseed, olive, safflower, soybean, sesame, and sunflower. Yeah, let's name a product vegetable oil and put vegetables on the container that contains little to no actual vegetables. And refining, bleaching, and deodorizing definitely all qualify as industrial processes. Moving on, next we have corn flour, cornstarch, rice flour, sugars, maltodextrin, and wheat starch. So at least 3 of these are these pre-digested slurries we just learned about. So they turn those things into a paste, and then to bind them all together, they add in the mono and diglycerides, which are a type of oil emulsifier, which is again created through a sort of pre-digestion hydrolysis process as well. Stick everything together and shape it up into a perfectly stackable potato, corn, rice, sugar, wheat chip, and the end result is something that technically has components of real food, but is nothing like any real food you've ever seen. And again, the insane thing here is a potato chip really only needs 3 ingredients. But somehow, with ultra processing, something so simple is turned into a frankenfood with the sole purpose of maximizing profits. And see, with a Pringle, it's junk food, right? So you're not exactly expecting it to win a prize for the most wholesome ingredients. But the problem with ultra processed food is they are everything now. Much like the regurgitated food mother birds feed their babies in the nest, ultra-processed food is quick and easy to digest, according to experts, but that's not how the human digestive system was meant to work. When food moves through the digestive system in ways Mother Nature didn't intend, the body loses the ability to send a signal of fullness to the brain, said Dr. David Katz, a specialist in preventative and lifestyle medicine. Your body is expecting to have to break down the nutrients in the food. So when this process is already partially completed, it's no wonder that people are so hungry. It's no wonder that people are overeating. It's no wonder that the obesity rate has been skyrocketing since at least the 80s, around the time that ultra-processed food entered the food supply in an unprecedented way. And it's not just that this food is making us hungry, it's that this
I ain't gonna cap, bro. Hey, you can argue with your mama, and I'ma die on the hill about this one. You smell it. Hey, ever since the 60s, bro, them niggas been tweaking with us. No cap. Not gonna argue with you. Hey, they been tweaking with us since forever, but bro, since the 60s, bro, niggas just ain't care no more. Argue with your mama.
food is making us crave.
It's so thin, crispy, and cheesy. And I just want to keep eating it. And eating it.
Because when something is digested quickly, it's not just hitting your body quickly, it's hitting your brain quickly as well. And in the world of addiction, there is this important concept of rate of delivery. The faster the drug hits your brain, the higher you get, and the more addictive the substance is. Add in just the right ratio of sugar, salt, and fat designed to tickle our taste buds, and an ultra-processed food that's nearly irresistible is born, said Dr. Chris Van Tulleken, author of Ultra-Processed People. It could be a pizza if you put some cheese and tomato on top. It could be a burger bun. It could be a grain bar, a breakfast cereal, an ice cream, or confectionery. They all have the same list of basic starting ingredients, he said. It's an illusion of food. It's much much cheaper for food companies to destroy real foods, turn them into molecules, and then reassemble those to make anything they want. And that is the problem right there. We are all eating edible food-like products. These foods are products first and foremost. The only thing that they're designed to nourish is a healthy profit margin. And you see, the real problem isn't that ultra-processed foods like Pringles exist at all. The problem is, what happens when the entire grocery store is made up of foods that barely qualify as food? And most people have no idea that this is true. Most people have no idea that they are being tricked. Lexus has grown to take over the entire grocery store. Foods that you'd never expect to be ultra-processed junk food products are. You know, it's one thing if people were knowingly buying junk food, right? It's another thing to be purchasing a yogurt cup for your kids that promises you that it's wholesome only for it to be nutritionally comparable to an ice cream cone. And not an ice cream cone made of cream and sugar, but an ice cream cone made of modified milk ingredients, gums, and emulsifiers.
Apparently, this ice cream is so fake that they can't even call it ice cream. It's called a frozen dessert instead.
Nearly every food product we consume now is designed to be unsatisfying. Let's think about the grocery store. Obviously, we have our junk food, our honey buns and Debbie cakes and Cheetos and candy and whatever else. But then we also have most breads, and not just Wonder Bread. These are all ultra processed too. Nearly all cereals, including probably 98% of the healthy cereals. Most frozen dinners, yes, including most of the healthy seeming ones. Nearly every and any food directly marketed to children. Any non-dairy milk, most plant-based foods, and like 95% of everything in the health and diet food aisle, including protein bars. Estimates say 73% of the food supply in the United States is made up of ultra-processed foods.
Okay.
Eating ultra-processed food is the norm for us now, and we're still in the really early stages of figuring out exactly what that's doing to us. 20 healthy volunteers were locked away from the outside world for 1 month. For 2 weeks, they ate only ultra-processed foods. For the remaining 2 weeks, they ate a diet made up of minimally processed foods. Each diet contained the exact same quantity of calories, sugars, fiber,
Right.
fat, salt, and carbohydrates.
They're experimenting. They're experimenting on humans with food. Food. Something we need to maintain life. They're experimenting with it.
The only difference was that one diet consisted only of foods that were ultra processed. In 2 weeks, participants on the ultra processed diet gained an average of 2 pounds, 0.9 kilograms. On the minimally processed diet, they lost the equivalent amount of weight. Now, obviously, 2 pounds in 2 weeks is nothing crazy, but think about what that might do to you over the weeks or months or years of just consuming the normal diet that most people consume in society. This is the norm. On top of that, what makes the study so interesting is that these diets were matched for composition. So the participants eating the ultra-processed food were eating the same amount of protein, calories, sugars, etc. as the group eating the minimally processed fresh meals. And yet the ultra-processed food group were still hungrier. They were still eating more calories. Science is really starting to reveal that it's not the lack of fiber, it's not additional sugar, it's the ultra-processed foods themselves that are the problem. There's something seriously strange about the way our bodies are processing these ultra-processed foods. They seem to be dysregulating the checks and balances our bodies have to keep us from gaining excessive amounts of weight. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, because it's not just about weight, it's about overall health and metabolic health and more. It's funny, as you scroll down through this article, all the related links to other ultra-processed food articles are so bad. Study finds growing evidence of link between ultra-processed food and cancer. Artificially sweetened ultra-processed foods linked to depression in women, study finds. Ultra-processed foods now account for 2/3 of calories in the diets of children and teens. By fracking food much like we frack oil, we have fully deconstructed the food matrix, and this is associated with many times higher risk of chronic disease and early mortality, and a degradation of global health. Before the Second World War, before we began using these new manufacturing processes, we never observed such a high level of chronic disease worldwide. So the question is, which degree of processing remains compatible with human food system sustainability and global health? At this point, it's becoming extremely hard to ignore how broken our food system is. And that's probably a good thing because things need to change and they need to change now. The only reason that these foods are being broken down and broken down so aggressively is because it's highly profitable. When you cook something yourself normally using fresh ingredients, the quality of those ingredients really kind of has a major impact on the final flavor of the dish. It makes or breaks it, essentially. And if you had food companies competing over the quality of their ingredients, they wouldn't make any money. You want a delicious tomato sauce you can sell the most pizza? Well, then you've got to let the tomato ripen on the vine a little longer. You have to care for the soil and fortify it. You have to spend a little money on fresh herbs. You got to care about the quality of the olive oil in the sauce. All of these steps, they take time and they take money, and competing on quality is not the game these guys are trying to play. They'd much rather squeeze every last drop out of the cheapest tomato they can find and then just inject a bland tomato paste with tomato and herb flavor and MSG and sugar, so your brain still enjoys the final product, but you just can't put your finger on why. But that fast rate of delivery and all the other modifications they make to the sensory properties of the food to tickle your dopamine receptors stop you from ever realizing that these foods actually taste just as disappointing as you'd expect them to. Well, most of them. Anyway, some of them, they did do a good job. Let's be real. I find knowing this stuff really does fuel the desire to just keep getting healthier and healthier and healthier. So I hope it had the same effect on you. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
And that's gonna be it for this video. You feel me? All y'all like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And besides, PS, public service announcement. This was not a personal attack on anybody. You feel me? If you are a boy and you feel attacked, you feel me? Hey, time to hit gym, boy. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, J2 Crazy is out.